At the outbreak of the Civil War, both the Union and the Confederacy expected that the rivalry would end in a short period of time. But with the power from both sides, the war between the states extended past the predicted length. It is widely known that the Union defeated the Confederacy in the Civil War, but many people don't understand how. Have you ever thought of the advantages and disadvantages of each side? Each side dominated in several ways. One of the essential differences in the Civil War was the weapons each side possessed. Throughout the war, the North overpowered the South with materials, production, and strategies. Most of the advantages of the war went towards the Union. This helped them to be successful and end the war by defeating the Confederacy. In most cases, the North had more numbers than the South. In fact, the Union even had twice as many soldiers than the Confederates. The North had the industrial strength and the advantage of artillery. The North also had the leverage of small arms and all the U.S. firearms. Also, the Confederates didn't have the equipment or knowledge to build the weapons. With the South lacking in industry, they had to rely on imports from other countries. It seems that with all these advantages for the North, the war should have ended fast and the Union should have won quick and easily. But the war continued to progress because of all the advantages the Confederates had. With the supply from other countries, the Confederates had a variety of different models for weapons. The English Enfield rifle was an important import. About 700,000 were used by Confederates during the war. Confederacy only had about 150,000 rifle muskets because the Union overtook all the others. During the time of the war, the Confederacy improved their techniques with weapons, but it never got to the level of the Union. The North's resources and numbers overcame all the Confederates' advantages, and this led them to win the war. When it comes to weapons in the Civil War, there were many different ways to have an advantage towards the other side. Many times it was the number of guns you had, or having the leading gun at the time, but there were also advantages when it came to the production of the weapons and strategies put with the weapons. Production of weapons in the Civil War was very key to success. With most of the United States industry being located in the North, the Union had most of the advantage with production for the Civil War and could create multiple guns at a time to use for fighting. The Union had better machinery, factories, and artillery production, which gave them an advantage with producing guns. According to the book Weapons and Tactics by Tim Cook, the Confederacy would produce 450 Napoleons during the war, but the Union made 1,127. This shows that the Union could produce more of the best guns than the Confederates, helping with their strength. Although they produced more Napoleons than the South had mass production of knives, and as the war went on, they would ramp up their production to be equal with the Union. The South would produce similar weapons to the North, but they always ended up being not as perfect. When fighting in the war, soldiers came up with strategies to improve their fight. Many times the soldiers took advantage of the land for cover. They would fire their weapons at the enemies and then kneel or lie down to reload and avoid fire from the enemy. The Confederacy developed many strategies for the war because they didn't have many other advantages over the Union. Confederate soldiers became good at using cushioning devices such as blankets to catch grenades and stop them from exploding by all the soldiers. As many believe, the Union had several advantages leading to their defeat of the Confederacy. Yet, for every factor in favor of the North, the South had a different advantage. Surprisingly, the South started the war with more advantages, but the Union continued to improve their war techniques, and through this all, the Union managed to successfully overpower the Confederate soldiers, abolish slavery, and win the Civil War.